Hi, myself Praveen. Today we are going to discuss about DNS. So, DNS, Domain Naming System. This is a full form of DNS. For what purpose we will use DNS? Which helps to provide name resolution. That means which helps to convert name to IP. So, DNS port number will be 53. So, here we are going to see about DNS features. What and all DNS feature it has. First is which helps to convert name to IP. Next is name resolution for the DNS client. And we can create like primary DNS server, secondary DNS server. These are the features what DNS has. Then we can replicate between primary server as well as secondary server. Even it has a feature of dynamic DNS as well as NS lookup. So dynamic DNS we are going to discuss in later video, or if you want more information you can see a last DNS videos related domains. There also I discuss regarding dynamic DNS. So here we are going to see about DNS hierarchical structure. So here totally we have 3 levels. That's the main 3 level. First is root, that we can call as dot server, that is dot DNS server, where all DNS information will be stored. That's a root where it starts. So under that only we will have one more layer called top level domain like .com, .edu, .org and .gov. So many top level domains. So for what purpose this and all domains are available? Based on their needs, their business purpose, they can select particular domain and they can purchase. For example, .com is nothing but commercial purpose like HP, HCL, IBM.com, commercial. .edu means educational purpose. So for like that they can go with that, as well as .org. Once again they will go with organization purpose, professionally. So .gov, only government websites will be in the form of .gov. Under this category only we are going to purchase first level domain. For example, I'm going to start a company for commercial purpose. I have to register under .com like IBM.com, HP.com, so on. So if my business deals with educations, I'm going to register under .edu. So under this we'll get sub level domain. So sub level domain in the sense, for example, I have a HP.com, mean I have many sub branches in India, US, so and so. For example, in India I want to build a subdomain like india.hp.com, where top level will be hp.com, under that india.hp.com, uk.hp.com. so where we can manage in a centralized way. In this subdomain also, in some, while purchasing, some vendor will provide unlimited subdomains, or some people will give limited sub-level domains. Next, about types of DNS server. There are totally 3 types of DNS server. One is primary DNS, secondary DNS and stub DNS. Primary DNS will be read and write copy. The records, the information can be rewritable. Secondary, it is for backup purpose, but the records, the information will be read only copy. Third is stub zone DNS in the form of cache. To increase the performance, we will use stub zone DNS for caching purpose. Next, about DNS records. Already I told DNS will store the informations. How it will store? It will store in the form of records. It will store the information in the form of records. There are many records, more than 25 records, but these are the around 78 records are most commonly used. So first, about a record which holds IPv4 host records, 4A record which holds IPv6 host records, and NS record which holds name server information. SOA also which holds the name server information. That means DNS server information sort of authority. Next you have PTR record called pointer record. This record is used for reverse lookup. Reverse lookup in the sense which helps to convert IP to name. For that purpose it will be used. Next is MX record, that is about mail server record, will be used for mail server name resolution, mail server name resolving purpose it will be used. CNAME record, which helps to provide a duplicate name for a original name. For that purpose we will use C record. In practicals we are going to see about CNAME record creation, PTR record creation, A record creation, NS record, SOA record will be created default, and about SRV. SRV record is nothing but service locator, where when you implement AD then this record will be used. It will be created automatically. Next about DNS query. What do you make query? Which helps to request for a particular purpose and we will receive it. That is about query. So here also the query concept is available in DNS. That means a DNS will query for the, that means DNS client will query for the server and server will provide the name resolution. So that's about the sending request as well as gaining the access. So in this request in this query there are two types of query. One is recursive query and interactive query. What do you mean by recursive query? Search for the answer and providing the answer. That means if somebody are asking any question to me, I will search for the answer and I will reply to the particular client. That is about recursive query. Interactive query in the sense, if client asks the question for me, I will answer what I have. I'm not going to search further. So that is about interactive query. Like example, DNS server replies what it knows. It does not search for the answer. So that is about recursive query. Next, here we are going to see about how actual DNS works. So just I will recall from first. This is your top level domain, what I told. That means your root domain. Under that, this is your top level domain. Under that you have first level domain. Under that you have subdomain, sub level, like bangalore.tech-luso.com. So if this client want to access this bangalore.tech-luso.com, how it works? For example, first client will request for the DNS server, like, do you know www.plr.tech-luso.com? So first DNS server will contact to the root DNS and it will ask and it will send a query that whether you know www.blr.tech-luso.com. The root server will give the answer that I know only about com server. I have only com address where it is located. So the DNS server will fetch the information of a com server and it will contact to the com server, and this com server once again it will give the information of Tech-Luso, and once again this DNS will hold a cache of Tech-Luso server and it will contact to the Tech-Luso DNS server, that means your first level domain, and it will find the actual address of blr.tech-luso.com, and from here it will get the right IP and it will get the information. So this is about how actual DNS works. So in this there are two types of forwarder. Forwarder in the sense just forwarding the information from one server to another server. So in this there are two types of forwarder. One is standard forwarder and conditional forwarder. Standard forwarder is nothing but receives query from other DNS server and queries root DNS for name resolution purpose. That means, for example, this is we can call a standard query. That means if client is asking any query, it will go with the root, com, then first level domain and sub level domain, then it will give the information. This is standard forwarding, but it will take time. That means the process is lengthy. But what do you make conditional forwarder? For example, I know the IP address of this bangalore.tl.com, Tech-Luso.com. In DNS server itself, I will specify the IP address and I will configure conditional forwarder. That means if any query comes for bangalore.techluser.com, no need of going with root, first top level domain, first level domain, then contacting to bangalore.techluser.com. Directly you contact from DNS to bangalore.techluser.com. So this process will be very fast. So this is we can call as conditional forwarder. In a practicals, just I will show where is the option of conditional forwarder and how we can add. So it will make the fast access of a particular known servers. That will be used conditional forwarder. Next about zone. So what DNS consists of? DNS consists of zone. There are two types of zone. One is forward lookup and one is reverse lookup. Forward lookup will be responsible for converting name to IP. Reverse lookup will be used for converting IP to name. For this purpose, this forward lookup as well as reverse lookup will be used. Via this only the name resolution will work in the DNS. This zone will store the records. I already explained about A record, 4A record, PTR record, C record. This and all will be stored in forward lookup. Some of the record will be stored in reverse lookup. So this and all we are going to see in the practicals. Just now we are going to get into the practicals. So already last video we discussed about web server. If you don't have an idea, I will share, already I shared the link below the video. Please go through with the web server configuration, then it will be easy for you to understand about how DNS is working. So in this server already web server has been configured. First we can check with IP. The IP address of the server is 172.16.75.100. So already I hosted. Just we can check here. So 172.168.75.100. So here we can see the web page. So this web page we are going to access via name by using DNS. That's a main idea, because we are accessing this website with IP. We are going to use DNS and we are going to access this website in the name of www.tech-luso.com. So for that, first we have to install DNS. So we have to select server manager, select add roles and features. Next, so here I'm going to select DNS server. And if you needed, let it restart. Just give install. So installation has been completed. Just give close. Just go for tools, select DNS. So here this is the computer name of a DNS server. First option we have global logs, where DNS logs will be stored. So this is about forward lookup, what I explained already, which helps to convert name to IP. Reverse lookup, which helps to convert IP to name. And this is about your conditional forwarder. That means how to forwarder a particular server directly. So trusted points we are going to discuss in further videos, because it's a lengthy concept. So first we are going to configure forward lookup. Right click, new zone. Next. So here you have primary, secondary and stub zone. We are going to create first primary. That means master DNS server. Next, Here we have to give the domain name Tech-Luso.com. Next, this is the DNS record, the file which holds the DNS configuration. If you have an existing file, you can import and you can use the old DNS info configuration also. So as of now, we are going to build a new configuration database. So this will be a new file. Next, let it be dynamic update. Let it be don't allow dynamic update. Just give next. Finish. Now under this, can you see a folder called Tech-Luso.com? Default, it will create SOA record as well as NS record. These are the two records which holds the DNS server's informations. Inside this, now I'm going to create a first record for called A record, which holds DNS IP address. Not only this particular DNS IP address, here which host name should be resolved via DNS, that particular server address also can be added here. For example, in reality scenario, the DNS server will be separate, web server will be separate. So here I should give web server IP because web server should get name resolved. So for as of now, the DNS server as well as web server are same for in our practical scenario, but in reality both will be different. So here we have to give web server information. So first I have to give a computer name of a web server. So just type hostname and IP address. What is the IP? 172.16.75.100. Just give add host. So now it is added successfully. Okay. Now for example, if I want to access the website over the name, so first I will add the DNS address for the client. So if I want to get name resolved, I need a DNS server address here. As of now, for me, this will be a DNS address, same server, because I am going to show testing everything will be in a single server. If it is client, the IP as well as DNS will be differs. So now if I go for a browser, I close, open this, close this one. I will take the computer name dot Tech-Luso.com. So can you see I'm able to access with computer name dot Tech-Luso.com. See, already the purpose of DNS, we can't remember the IP address, so we should access via name. So if we want to access with this much lengthy computer name dot domain name, it will be very difficult. So only we have a concept called CNAME record, that means alias. That means this particular computer name should get resolved with any kind of shortcut name. So here default everybody will use www, that is the standard of websites. So this www should resolve with this particular computer name. This is the computer name which will be resolved by www. Just give OK. That's it. Refresh. Just minimize it. Now just I'm going to type www.Tech-Luso.com. So can you see? So this is the process how the websites are hosted via DNS. So now we are able to access with www.Tech-Luso.com via name itself. So in features I explained, I pointed out one option called NS lookup that will be used to find the name resolution from which server it is happening, whether it is happening or not. So that is the command called NS lookup. NS lookup space like www.tech-luso.com. So can you see here? So name computer name dot Tech-Luso, this is the IP address, and alias is www.tech-luso.com. So this is about your forward lookup. So one more option we have called reverse lookup. DNS will do only name resolution, that means which helps to convert name to IP. But what is the purpose of reverse lookup? For security purpose. If some redirection happens because of hacking, or duplicate servers are placed in some other locations and which gives a similar interface for a user, to overcome this problem reverse lookup will be used. That means, for example, now I gave ns lookup space www.tech-luso.com. It gives the information like with computer name as well as Tech-Luso and as well as alias name. For example, if I'm going to give the IP like 172.16.75.100, it will give an error. Can you see? Server unknown. So whenever a DNS should resolve name to IP and IP to name, then only the DNS will be secure. The particular website can be verified. So for that we are going to create reverse lookup. So give next, let it be IPv4. So here you give the start 3 octet and give next, finish. So here to do reverse lookup we are not going to create any kind of A record and all. Here there is no option of A record also. So here we have to create PTR record, that is about pointer record, which helps to convert IP to name. So new PTR record, so specify the host address, browse for which host record it should give reverse lookup for this particular host record. Just give OK and give OK. Now you can test here once again with IP only. Now it will provide with computer name dot nslookup.com and IP, everything here also. So here you can verify via ns lookup. Now ns lookup space www.tech-luso.com. Here it should show both. This will be a reverse lookup and this will be a forward lookup. When you're getting this both similar, then only it is a valid server what you're going to access. If any one mismatch, that indicates you logged in into a wrong server or duplicate or hacked. For that purpose only, the main purpose is about avoid hacking. To overcome this problem, reverse lookup are built. So this is about DNS server.